My wife is a perpetual rule follower who was in full panic mode. So I had been in a rather turbulent part of my life, and it seemed like a good thing to do was do a cannonball. So did a cannonball, and my wife flew out to California to meet me. We had started off in LA, stayed at the Portofino for a few days, toured LA. There were some places that she really had wanted to see, so we did that. So we'd made a decision beforehand to drive across the country together. And the plan was there wasn't really a plan. We'd see the Grand Canyon because I've driven cross country a few times and never stopped. I've driven near it and figured it was time. But everything else was we saw a sign on the road, we were stopping, checking out all the silly Route 66 stuff, and drove on Route 66 for a little while. It was really fun to be trapped in a car together. It was something that I had wanted to do for our honeymoon, but just the time, finances didn't allow for it. There was one point we're driving along and we see this sign for a meteor crater. We're like, let's go see that. And she's looking online to see when they close, find out they close in like 40 minutes, and we're 15 minutes away. So I just hammer down. We go. We see this ginormous crater and kind of blow through the museum portion. We're going along. I'm moving a little quickly. Go right past an Arizona state trooper. For those who don't know, Arizona is one of the worst states to get a ticket in. Forget Virginia, forget Ohio. Arizona's it, and Arizona is where I've had all of my close calls. So I go by him. I see the lights come on. I see him start to pull out. I also see a sign for an exit 2 miles ahead. I keep my foot in it and get off the next exit and pray. This may or may not have been my first time doing that, but it was definitely the first time for my wife. My wife is a perpetual rule follower who was in full panic mode. She did not know what to do. She's like, we should stop. I'm like, I would rather not go to jail today. I kept my foot in it and got off the very next exit. Moving along, I did not have the luxury of having any sort of plausible deniability. Where he got us, it was a very wide open stretch. So I get off the highway and I take the first right into a large parking lot with a giant building in it, which turned out to be that Best Western. And I told my wife that we were stopping for the night. So I park behind the building in the midst of a whole bunch of trucks because the little Mercedes blends right in. Somebody drives by, they're not going to see it. Plus, the speeds we were going, it was nighttime. He may not have had a good look at the car, hopefully. We park, and I say, well, the best thing we can do right now is not get back on the road. We're both tired, and let's just check into this hotel right here. And she's shaking, she's frantic, and I just kind of calmly, I'm the calm one in the relationship. She is the one who worries, which is good. You need one to do one or the other. And I did my best to calm her down and got her calm. And we checked into a room. We stayed in a Best Western Plus, which we found very, very nice. She immediately fell asleep. I would love to say that there was some sort of Bonnie and Clyde, cops and robbers kind of thing that happened after we finished, but my wife was just so overtaken with what I just did that she fell asleep. Go down to Roswell, New Mexico, eat at the McDonald's that's shaped like a UFO, and leave there, go to Cadillac Ranch, the Big Texan. Did not do the challenge, thought about it, but we had such a big meal in Roswell that I wasn't going to try that. We start meeting up with other cannonballers, James in Missouri, Sean in Ohio. We left Ohio, and from there, we didn't really have any stops. We're going through West Virginia, and I wanted to hear Country Roads, so I'm watching the road, but I'm also trying to find the song. It's what, 9 miles in West Virginia? I'm looking, and I'm going quick, but I'm not going much faster than everybody else. And it's a construction zone, but it's a Sunday, so nobody's there. Out of the corner of my eye, I see West Virginia State Trooper as we're going past, and I look down and I'm doing God knows. So he pulls me and 5 other cars over. My wife is full on panic because I think the speed limit was like 30 miles an hour in the construction zone. She's like, well, what's going to happen? I'm like, well, one of three things. I'm either going to jail. And she's like, well, what happens if you go to jail? And I said, well, you follow me to the police station, you bail me out, we go home, we hire a lawyer. And she goes, okay, what else could happen? I said, well, I could get a very large ticket. She said, well, what happens then? I said, well, we hire a lawyer, we get it taken care of. And she said, well, what else could happen? I said, nothing could happen. We could get away with a warning. Trooper comes up and asks the standard questions. He says, where are you coming from? California. Where are you going to? Home to Massachusetts. What were you doing in California? Well, sir, I was doing some work with the Cannonball Memorial Fund. Have you heard of our organization, sir? He goes, no, I have not. And I said, well, we're a 501c3. We raise money for the families of fallen police officers. Well, I have you here. Could I get a good donation from you today? And he's just... So I grabbed my phone. I already had it pulled up. And I said, you can donate right here, your Facebook. You don't have to use my phone. If you want to use your own to make a donation, that's fine. But if you make an over $20 donation, I will give you one of these challenge coins. And he's like, I'm a state worker. I don't make a lot of money. I have to go see these other people. So he starts to walk. He stops, comes back, and he says, I'm very sorry. I forgot to ask for your license and registration. So he comes back. I give it to him. He goes, sees the other cars. And my wife is like white, full panic, sweating. She's just asking the same questions over and over. I'm trying to calm her down. Keep telling her it's not going to be that big of a deal. And Trooper walks back and he goes, hey, I'll be right back. And I look over at her and I said, no ticket. She's like, how do you know? And I said, well, if I was going to jail, there'd already be another cruiser here. If I was getting a ticket, he would not nonchalantly wave like that. And she's like, okay, I hope so. He comes back and he's got a stack of envelopes and a piece of paper. He hands me the piece of paper. It's a warning. So I pull out and I go by him and I get right back up to speed. And she's like, normal people would slow down. And not you. We're doing 110. And I said, we're already in Pennsylvania. I don't care. There is nothing that will bring two people closer together than being in a car. Some people will go out and renew their vows. Doing that together did way more for us than renewing vows or something superficial could ever do.
This month, we've got our 2 best deals ever back from Glossit. We've got their DIY ceramic coating kit, which is a $210 value, including their graphene ceramic coating, plus a bottle of their ceramic detail spray, which makes the application so easy an idiot like me can do it in my own garage. That's a $210 value for just $69.99. Or, if free is the better price, you can get a bottle of their award-winning detail spray for free. Just pay the shipping and handling. We've had to limit that, so I don't know how many are left, but check the links in the description below and find out which you can get. Either way, you're going to get some great Glossit goodness.